Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance, and today we dive into the story of one of the most misunderstood, underestimated, and secretly powerful frontline disruptors in all of Hero Wars, Alliance. We are talking about Luther, the Honor faction tank who doesn't defend by standing still. He defends by diving straight into the enemy formation and turning the entire battlefield upside down. Luther is not a traditional tank. He is chaos wrapped in armor, discipline wrapped in violence. His entire identity revolves around manipulation, turning enemies around, stunning them, breaking their formation, and forcing them to fight in the wrong direction. When he jumps, he doesn't just appear in the enemy backline. He resets the entire battlefield, giving your team a massive strategic edge in the first seconds of combat. His magic defense increases with each activation, his punches disrupt rhythm, and every time he teleports he creates a moment where your opponents lose their structure, and in Hero Wars, losing structure means losing the battle. And that leads us into his synergies, because Luther alone is strong, but Luther paired with the right allies becomes a complete nightmare. One of the most iconic partners for Luther is Iris. Iris thrives on one thing: proximity to her targets. The closer the enemy stands, the faster she burns their souls and destroys them before they can retaliate. But the danger has always been the same: if the enemy backline moves first, she can fall before performing her execution. Luther solves that problem instantly. With one jump, he turns the enemy team around and locks them into confusion, closing the net around them. Iris gets exactly what she needs: a distracted team, facing the wrong direction, and completely exposed to her burn. Together, they create a deadly ambush that wipes teams before the first minute. Soleil is another hero who flourishes next to Luther. His kit is complex, full of retaliations, taps, debuffs, and effects that rely on enemies attacking in the wrong direction. When Luther divides and disrupts the enemy formation, Soleil punishes the chaos. The central foe becomes the perfect target, stunned, tapped, and softened, and Soleil's armor-stealing attacks hit even harder because Luther is absorbing aggression himself. If opponents try to react, they do it facing the wrong way, wasting precious seconds until it's too late. This duo creates controlled retaliation with surgical precision. Polaris makes things even worse for the enemy. Her stuns are devastating, but the enemy backline can remain dangerous if they are too far from the point of impact. Luther closes that gap. He jumps, disrupts, and stuns the front line, and Polaris layers her own storms of control on top. The result is complete freeze-frame warfare. The enemy team cannot move, cannot turn around, cannot establish tempo. It's a combination that forces attackers into panic, while your backline works safely and effortlessly. Jorgen is yet another piece that fits Luther like a glove. While Luther reduces frontal pressure by confusing and tapping the foes, Jorgen manipulates the energy of the entire enemy team. Your allies gain energy faster, the backmost enemy takes the redirected physical damage, and the opponent's first skills arrive much later than expected. With Luther disabling their direction and Jorgen disabling their energy, enemies lose every layer of control. It's a physical team's dream setup and one of the strongest synergy patterns for countering coordinated attackers. And now let's talk about his supports, the heroes that elevate Luther from a disruptive tank into a full battlefield commander. One of the best supporters for Luther is Hus. Because Luther deals damage and applies stuns, Hus amplifies this effect by giving him reliable and continuous healing, while increasing the entire team's chance of critical hit. And here is where the magic happens: due to Luther belonging to the Honor faction, his critical hits deal extra damage. Hus turns his stuns into punishments and his hits into real threats. With Hus, Luther becomes a tank that not only stops pressure but sends it straight back. If the goal is to strengthen Luther's physical and defensive presence, then Fafnir is a phenomenal partner. Even though Luther is strength-based and cannot guarantee the legendary runic shield every time, Fafnir still spreads both the runic shield and runic blade to the entire team. The shield absorbs physical damage, and the blade gives bonus armor penetration, and extra offensive strength. With this support, Luther becomes a hard-to-break frontliner who deals unexpectedly high damage during the 8-second buff. It allows your team to turn the tide in battles that seemed impossible. Alvanna is another excellent protector, especially against teams with intense regular attacks. His reduction to basic attack damage, plus healing and the slow on 2 nearest foes, give Luther the breathing room he needs to execute his disruption safely. While the enemy backline is being pressured, Alvanna keeps the front line sustained until the final strike arrives. Aiden also plays a strong role. His shields, health increases, and resurrection level sustain allow Luther to stay alive during the highest pressure battles. Aiden keeps Luther moving, jumping, and stunning without worrying about his health bar, even when the foes are focusing him relentlessly. But now it's time for strategy, because every hero has counters, and knowing how Luther falls is as important as knowing how he rises. Pushing him back through Cascade or Faceless is extremely effective. If Luther gets knocked toward his own team, the attacker regains formation, regains direction, and regains control. Luther loses his advantage instantly. Stopping his movement also neutralizes him completely. Folio holding him in place or Maya rooting him eliminates the threat to the backline. And of course, there is the biggest drawback in Luther's design. When he teleports, he leaves the front line exposed. If he is the only tank, the enemy can exploit that weakness by placing a heavy, self-sustaining, high-damage hero like Ishmael in the frontmost position. Ishmael not only punches through the exposed allies, he also stuns, locks, and punishes the gap Luther creates. So Guardians, that is the essence of Luther, a disruptive tank who wins not with armor, but with chaos. Used wisely, he is a hero who rewrites the battlefield. Used carelessly, he can expose your team more than he protects it. If this guide helped you understand Luther deeper, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support is what allows Olympus Alliance to continue teaching, growing, and empowering the community every single day. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and as always, salute and friendship.